Yo, 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 what up, YouTube Live? How's it going? Right now it's Thursday, December 31st. It's New Year's Eve. Holy crap. Less than 24 hours from now, we are gonna say goodbye to the year 2020. God, and we are not gonna look back on this year fondly. We're gonna be like, good riddance. 2020 sucked. But yeah, that's another topic for another time. Let's talk about Star Trek Discovery, shall we? I just finished watching the latest episode. This is season 3, episode 12. The title is There Is a Tide. There is a Tide. Directed by none other than Commander Riker, Jonathan Frakes. He directed today's episode. So as always, with all my reviews of episodes that have already aired, this too contains spoilers. So this review is mainly for those of you, my fellow Star Trek Discovery fans, who have also watched today's new episode. Spoiler alert! There be a lot of spoilers. Spoiler full in this video. I just I just want to start by saying that those spear datas at the end, the spear datas, they look like freaking Wall-E's, man. I was just like so geeking out. I was, oh my god, is it a crossover? Wall-E just shows up on Star Trek Discovery. Yay! Wait, is that or was that more like Eve instead of Wall-E? Because Wall-E's got like more like Eve, right? Because Wall-E's the wonky, clunky metal. Eve is the sleek, shiny ones. So that cracked me up. But seriously though, this episode today starts out really strong and very explosive, especially with Michael and Book trying to land onto the back of the Discovery ship. I was like, whoa, that was awesome. You know, for all the imperfections of this show, and trust me, this show's got a lot of flaws, and many of you have pointed them out, what those flaws are. But for all the imperfections, you gotta hand it to the VFX people. You know, the ones who make everything looks so cool when the spaceships are doing battles, and then like today's episode when Michael and Book try to land on Discovery. I was like, it looks awesome. It looks really intense. It looks really like movie like cinematic. I loved it. So those moments on this show, you know, rarely ever disappoint me. If any at all. So yeah, it starts out strong. Let's see here. And the whole time that they were trying to get onto this Discovery, there was like this warning alert, proximity alert. You know, the proximity alert. And you know, I was like, holy crap, that's so cool. If I could have that for my car, for my vehicle, you know, whenever I have to back up, kind of like trucks would have the beep 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 sound as they're backing up. It'd be kind of cool if my car could tell me proximity alert, like, oh, you're about to get really close to this thing. I would love to have that kind of warning signal. Osyra plays a big role on this episode, and one fun fact that I found out, I googled it, of course, is that Osyra is played by Janet Kidder. Janet Kidder is turns out she is the niece of Margot Kidder. Margot Kidder, of course, as you know, she played Lois Lane in the original Superman movie, starring the late great Christopher Reeve. And Margot Kidder also had passed away a few years back. So May she rest in peace. So now it's like this is her niece, and I was like, that's so cool. I don't think I've ever seen Janet Kidder on any other show anywhere else. This is probably my first time seeing Margot Kidder's niece in action. So, and she's okay. She's okay. I think if you ask me for my overall thoughts on Osyra, I think she is a formidable villain, but she's not one of the best villains of this franchise. She's not like the top 10 best villains that this franchise has ever seen. Whether it be this Star Trek installment or the Next Generation or Voyager, those guys have had better villains than Osyra. But for this story arc, she's okay. She's pretty okay as the bad girl. The moment my only thought about, or my only comment about Admiral Vance and Osyra's negotiating, it was fun. I gotta be honest with you, I had a little trouble following their line of arguments. I know that any you can probably help me out with that if you know more about the nit and grit about what they're talking about. I know that she wanted to make a deal for Emerald Chain to be part of the Federation, but then she also wanted some changes on the Federation itself. And then there were times when during the negotiation it looks like, yeah, it's gonna go smoothly because you have the Hollow, can detect lies, and so it seems that it's all in good faith, all in good intention. But then it escalated right at the end. Did you see that? It was like, whoa. So it seems that the Hollow really captured Osyra's actual intention, like right at the last minute. I was like, oh, there you go, lie. Daniel's Hot Topics is here. Hello, Daniel Hot Topic. Awesome avatar there. Cool. Live long and prosper, my friend. Hope you have a happy new year. Oh, you're hoping that I would have a happy new year. Oh, thank you. And I hope you have a happy new year as well. How was this episode? This episode was okay. It was now it's starting to it's starting to snowball. The whole thing with the tension with the Osyra, and Osyra wanting the spore drive, and Osyra's hidden agenda, about the deal with the Admiral Vance. So the ball's rolling. It's not a filler episode. And last week we found out what caused the burn. So now the big questions are being answered as we are heading to next week's season 3 finale. Which, by the way, is kind of weird because I don't know about you guys, but I feel like it's a bit weird that the season finale is like on the first Thursday of January 2021. You know what I'm saying? It's like it's like if you park your car in the garage, but it's not all the way in. The car's like the trunk or the butt, the backside of the car is like still sticking out of the garage. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't get it. Like, why can't they just set it up in a way where Star Trek Discovery season 3 would end in December, not having to spill over onto January. It's so weird. I find that weird also about The Expanse. I don't know if you guys watch The Expanse. I love The Expanse. I think The Expanse is a much better show than Star Trek Discovery, even though I like both. But yeah, The Expanse started in December, or always starts in December, and then it ends around mid-January and February. I was like, come on, people. What is this? Daniel's Hot Topics. I miss Giorgio already. Where did you think the Guardian sent her? I hope he sent her to a time after Picard season 1 or 2. That's a good question. The answer to that, Daniel, is I don't know. It all depends on that spin-off series that the producers are preparing for Michelle Yeoh's character, Philippa Giorgio. The section 13 or something, or section 31. So it depends on them to decide which timeline they're gonna put her on. But your idea is not that bad. So I'm all for that. I'm all for that. Who do you think is the spy? Some people think that you know what? I forgot to put your questions up on the board here so everybody can see it. I missed Georgia already. Where do you think the Guardian sent her? Oh, you gave me another one. Okay, let me before we get to the next bullet point. This one, who do you think is the spy? Some people think that Admiral Vance is the spy. I hope not. Oded Fehr is one of my favorite actors. I want him to be in season 4. He is also one of my favorite actors. I think I've mentioned to you guys this before, that even though Oded Fehr's most famous role was in the Mummy movies, my favorite Oded Fehr's role was in Deuce Bigalow, Male Gigolo with Rob Schneider. I think Oded Fehr played Antoine, the playboy. He left the house to Rob Schneider to take care of, and then there's that fish tank, the famous fish tank. So I would love to see him back in season 4. Do I think that he's the spy? No, I don't think he is the spy. But I think it's somebody close and unexpected, definitely. Section 31, then I saw that. Yes, there you go. I was thinking like, is it 13 or 31? It's one of those switcheroo of those two numbers. If they send her back to 20th or 3rd century, I'm going to scream. Hey, that's a possibility. That is a possibility. So my comment about the negotiation between Osyra and Oded. So it started out okay, and it was like, okay, this might be going well for both these parties, if you will, two parties. It seems that Admiral Vance is taking Osyra's requests reasonably, instead of going hostile about it. But then at the end, it escalated, because then, like I said earlier, the Hollow figured it out. It's like, aha, she wanted something. And before I get to the last part, I just want to say that whole interaction between Admiral Vance and Osyra, I enjoyed it. I gotta rewatch it again. I gotta rewatch the episode to actually get a full grasp of what they're saying in details. But I enjoy the fact that at one point, Osyra gave Admiral Vance the terms of condition, right, for her request, or for her proposal, if you will. That cracked me up. Because Admiral Vance is like, oh, I need a moment to read this. It's like reading a contract, if you will. But who does that? Come on, between you and me, amongst us, we don't even read the terms of condition on Apple. When we upgrade, our software on the computer or on our phone. It's like, so for Admiral Vance to say, I need a moment, I gotta sit down and read this contract. I was like, wow, now that is a rare ass quality. Before I get to the next bullet point, Daniel's hot topics. How many times can they do the 23rd century? They did it in the original series movies 1 to 6, Star Trek: The Next Generation, bits and pieces. Excuse me. TNG, DS9, Voyager, Enterprise season 4. Yes. You're just listing all of them. Yes. And the short treks, Daniel said, and short treks, the 23rd century has been done to death. Yes, that's true. I don't argue with you on that. But we'll see if that's the year or the timeline that the century, the era, whatever you call it, that the writers want to put Michelle Yeoh or Philippa Giorgio in. Then I guess we'll just have to Oh, here's another 23rd century again. But there's nothing more we can do other than that. That most definitely. But that is a good point, Daniel's Hot Topics. That is a good point. It has been beaten to death for sure. Sure, sure, sure. Um, what was my last bullet point here? Oh, before I get to the bullet points, a few side notes, okay? So, a few side note comments for those of you who have watched today's episode. Um, Another episode of Michael crying. Remember we talked about that last week? I was like, Michael cries like in every episode, or at least most of them, at least, you know, something that always triggers Michael to cry. And Sonika, I love you. You can cry on cue. That's fantastic. But sometimes it can get really overdone. And now in today's episode, of course, she got stabbed because that's by the way, that's a terrible move on Michael's part. Like, you got to be able to knock out your opponent quicker than that, man. You got to be able to. I mean, if you had to do some sort of a sleep choke or sleep holder move, then you're not doing something right there. I'm like, because you're giving him a leeway or a chance to actually hit you or strike back. In this case, stabs you. And I thought that was a very lapse of judgment, if you will, or maybe blind spot, on Michael's part. I was like, come on, dude, come on, really? But at the same time, I get it though. I get that they want to do that. They want to. It's the screenwriter's way sometimes to make sure that the lead protagonist or the lead hero is not too invincible. I'm not talking about Mary Sue situation, but it's a technique so as to make you, the audiences, feel, oh my god, our hero's wounded, but look at him or look at her, keeps persisting, god, and then you're compelled to side with him or her. So I get it. That's a tactic, if you will, not tactic, tactic that's been used countless times for stories. But at the same time, it does make Michael look bad. That whole handling of that one guy, is like, come on, you could do better than that. Michael should have been a better fighter than that. I mean, Michael has fought Philippa Giorgio, and she couldn't handle that one dude, really? You gotta go, all wrestling style for that, really? So, just a quick side note on that. I thought that was kind of lame. Another side note is Stamets and that scientist in the wheelchair. The battle of the scientists, right? I also enjoy that. So you have Admiral Vance versus Osyra, versus as in battle of the wits as they're negotiating the deal, right? And then you have Stamets and that Osyra scientist, battle of the wits as in trying to convince the other, oh, we are the good guys. No, we are the good guys. You're the bad guys, Obviously at the end it's clear that the Osyra scientist has been blindsided by Osyra. He thought that Osyra is like an angel or something. It's so weird. But yeah, I wish that the battle of the scientists would talk more about the science instead of because that was more of a battle of scientists on psychoanalysis level, more psychological rather than about science stuff. Daniel's Hot Topics, another one here. Oh, did you know that William Shatner was supposed to be in Star Trek Enterprise Season 4? Archer was supposed to come across as temporal prison camp on a planet, and Archer found an older Mirror Kirk. Interesting indeed. I'm not a big fan of Enterprise though, Daniel. I gotta be honest with you. I'm so sorry. If you are, that's fine. But I tried. I remember watching it in the first season, and I gave up on it. I just didn't enjoy it. I didn't get into it. I grew up on The Next Generation, and I kind of like the other ones as well. But Enterprise was the weakest installment of all the Star Trek franchise, in my opinion, at least. Um, so in the script from Judith and Garfield Reeves Stevens, when Mirror Spock sent Kirk and company back to their universe, he got his Kirk back. Then he used the Tantalus device on Mirror Kirk. That's awesome. That's awesome. Thank you so much for that, bro, friend. Thank you so much. But I don't want to lose my train of thoughts there. I appreciate you chiming in, but I gotta get to the next bullet point here. So this is the last one. The last one, okay? And then we're gonna rest because right now it's already 12:48 a.m. In the morning, and I gotta sleep. And today's New Year's Eve. The last bullet point is this. For those of you who have watched today's episode, Michael Burnham did Stamets cold. By that I mean, so Michael, again, crying, crying mode, made a choice that I gotta send you away, Stamets, otherwise Osyra's gonna be using your spore drive, or Osyra's gonna be using you against the Federation. And meanwhile, Stamets tells Michael, like, no, we gotta save my boyfriend Hugh, we gotta save Adira, we gotta save Saru in the Ring Nebula. We gotta go back there. No. And so at one point, Stamets gets really furious and frustrated. He tells Michael, we came to the future for you. We sacrificed everything. We left our homes in the past to go to the future for you, with you, so that you won't be alone. And this is how you repay us. And when Stamets says that, oh, dude, it pierces, man. It pierces because he's right. He's right. I mean, like, that cuts deep. And you know, the thing is, I guess that's why I have this sort of a bittersweet love-hate relationship with the character Michael Burnham, because there's some decisions that she makes when it was like, and it just makes you scratch your head. It's like, why are you doing this? Like, and there will be times like this one where Michael Burnham says, there's no other choice. This is the only way. It's like, there's always a choice, Michael. There's always another way. It can't be just like, just this, you know, and nothing else. Like, I gotta send you away otherwise. And so, I'm really, I gotta be, if I were to be honest, I gotta say that I'm really disappointed with Michael's decision on today's episode. And I think that's gonna really have a long impact, lasting impact on Stamets. If something were to happen to you, Adira and Saru, he will never forget Michael. Not that it will happen though, because you know they're like Adira, Saru, and Hugh are key characters. So I don't think the writers are gonna. Last week there was like some of you guys theorized that maybe we're gonna see Saru dying, you know, because the burn has to do with the Kleptian, and you know, it has to do with Saru, and he has to, you know, it has to be there, left behind. And I doubt that. I don't want to believe that. I think Saru's gonna be in season 4. I really do. If I'm wrong, then I'm wrong. But you know, any slight chance of that, any slight chance of something happening to Hugh, Saru, and Adira, that's it, man. Stamets could hate Michael so much that they could be like warring faction between each other. Like Stamets could be Michael's villain, if you will. You know what I'm saying? This could be like the origin of Stamets as a villain. If you mess up that bad, and as for Michael, sometimes you wonder too, like, really, you're doing this for the good of the Federation? But there were many times in the past when Michael just kind of went off and do her own thing, you know, like, I don't care about the team, I don't care about the crew, I'm gonna save Book. I don't care about the team, I'm gonna take this ship and go over here. I'm gonna do my own thing. It's like, and there will be times like, oh, we gotta put the Federation before everybody else, before me as well. It's like, Which is it? Which is it, Michael? You're all over the map. Like, come on now, come on. So, are you sacrificing it for the good of the Federation, or are you, a rebel that goes off every once in a while, with Federation just in the back of your head? Like, which is it? Which is it? Which are you, man? Or have you made this stand now and you're gonna stick with it? So it's a really love-hate, bittersweet relationship with Michael, and it's tough because, as I've mentioned to you many times before, Michael is the focus of every episode. It's always about Michael. even when the episode is not about Michael, it's back to being about Michael again. So, yeah. A fascinating episode. I guess that's the writer's way of, throwing a wrench, at the arc. I was like, oh, we don't want them to be all cozy and friends with each other, because on today's episode, Stamets said to that one scientist, the Osyra scientist, like, oh, my friend Michael Burnham. She says that he said my friend Michael Burnham. But by the end of the episode, you don't even know if they're gonna be still friends. So it's interesting. I think it's gonna be a fascinating season 3 finale next week. I can't wait to watch it on January 7th after the New Year. So what do you guys think? What do you guys think about today's episode? The title is There Is a Tide. Do you agree or disagree with my assessment? And what is your theory as to what will happen in or on next week's episode, aka season 3 finale? What do you want to see to happen? What do you hope that's gonna happen? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Thank you, Daniel's Hot Topics, for talking or chatting with me. And for those of you guys who haven't got the chance to chat online, share your thoughts, share your questions, share your theories in the comment section below. And as always, subscribe. Let's rock this.